what do you understand by Scrum?
Scrum is a framework that helps to agile team to work together to develop the software, to deliver the software, and sustain the complex product within the shorter time. If you see the if you see the Scrum, there will be some stage we have. First, that product backlog will be there. So in the product backlog, that consists of like epics user story or user stories we need to maintain there, and the product backlog will have that is which we need to going to be developed, whatever the user stories we have in the product backlog, and we'll give the user stories the business value point, so that is classify of the importance of the user stories. That is also going to be help us. After product backlog, we have to go for a sprint meeting or a sprint planning. In that planning, we have that is product owner. In the product owner, like developer team and tester team, we need to discuss. And the product owner, that he has to uh, clarify the user stories, like how the user stories and how like client giving the requirement, and each and every point he needs to clear all those things. And after that we have to go for the estimation part also, like how much time it will take and how much, and we have to give the user value point also, user story points also we have to give there as a developer or as a tester. And then we have to go for a sprint backlog. Sprint backlog will keep the user stories in the sprint backlog, which needs to be developed now only. Like whatever the sprint durations will be there, 2 to 4 weeks or like 1 to 3 weeks. And between that time only, we need to complete the like sprint backlog. And after sprint backlog, we have to go like a Scrum team we have. This Scrum team we have Scrum Master, developer, and tester team. So we need to work parallelly on those things. And there will be the sprint and durations. I have mentioned already duration. It will be 2 to 4 weeks, and within that we have to complete all those things. After the complete the sprint backlog, we need to give review to the stakeholder, and after giving the stakeholder, we need to go for the review or something to the customer. So this is how Scrum process is going, and this is we have to go for that.
Absolutely. So pretty impressive, Imran, there. The way you have explained clearly shows that you have definitely worked extensively in the framework. And you mentioned that Scrum is a framework which agile teams use to work together to build the product, which is really good. And you have defined the overall process. So I think I do not need to elaborate more on there, but just want to add a couple of more things in the definition that you can add. So basically, Scrum came from the rugby. So there is a game rugby, right? So in rugby, usually the teams
Yes,
go
yes,
together. If you Google rugby game, you will see that teams self-organize together and work on a problem. And
yes.
that's what you have already explained. So pretty good. And you have explained the overall process like product backlog. And then from product backlog, you pick the sprint backlog. And sprint backlog is nothing but the work items or the user stories that you will pick to build in the 2 to 4 week cycle. So what is the usual sprint duration that you follow in your organization?
No, it's depend on the user stories. Like we have mentioned, like we have given the 2 to 4 weeks, and if it is a depend on the sprint, what we are keeping in the sprint backlog, and how the complexity of the user stories. If it is a like more, we need to like analyze, like developer will analyze and tester also will analyze how much time it will take to testing the applications or whatever. So depend on that only we are giving the estimations idea. So
Right.
sometime it go to the 2 weeks, sometime it will take 3 weeks as well as.
Okay. So yeah, so you are telling about the estimation. So estimation is fine, but usual duration of the sprint. So you mentioned that duration is like 2 weeks sprint, right? Or 2 or 4 weeks sprint.
two
So
to four weeks.
so
Two to
what
four
what
weeks.
is your
Yes.
what is the duration in your project? Is it 2 weeks or is it 4 weeks or 3 weeks?
No, again, sir, it is not like it's depend on the again like whatever the user stories. Like it's depend on the rule changes, right? There are several rule we have. So
Okay.
there are some modules like complexity modules we have. In that modules, there are lots of like development works like coding or something. For
Mhm.
tester also, it is like taking more time to test all those things. At that
Okay.
times, we are giving the more durations, like 3 weeks or
Right.
4 weeks. It depends. We can't fix that like we have to go for only 2 weeks.
Okay. So I think if that's the case in your organization, then it's not the the way agile or scrum defines the sprints. So you, in terms of estimation, I can understand that a story might take 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or
Yes,
three sprints. And if it takes three sprints, then you have to divide it into smaller chunks so that it fits into the sprint duration. But usually sprints will be
yes,
either 2 weeks, so it's a time box cadence. So if you follow 2 week sprint, you follow 2 weeks. So you do sprint planning, you pick the work item, you finish those in 2 weeks, and then the next sprint starts. In the next sprint, which is another 2 weeks,
we
you
do
pick
it.
another. So I think you got confused with the estimation and the sprint. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, the sprint duration will be either, some people say you can also take 1 week, but most of the industry
2 weeks,
standards, many places it will be 2 to 4 weeks,
1 week.
and 4 weeks is rare. 2 weeks is pretty standard, which organizations follow. And then within those 2 weeks, you pick
Pretty
the
standard,
user
yes.
stories
But we
which will fit or which your team can deliver within those 2 weeks. So that's the overall practice around the sprint duration.
right,
Okay.
right.
But your answer about the scrum is absolutely correct. Whatever process you have explained, that's absolutely correct. And I can totally understand that understanding scrum or mastering scrum takes lifetime. It's like a game of chess. So a game of chess, if I explain you the rules of a chess, I'll be able to explain it in like 15 minutes to you that these are the
Right.
rules. But to become a chess master, you practice lifetime. And
Mm,
similar is with Scrum. Okay. So you work in a project, you move to somewhere else, you will find some different approaches there. So it takes a lot of experience and exploration to understand the way Scrum framework is works, or master it basically. Okay. All right. What is the difference between Agile and Scrum?
Agile and Scrum, I would say that Agile is a like methodology. So uh, that help us to build the software like quickly and without compromising the quality of work. And in other words, I can say it is a flexibility process where like testers and developer work parallelly and as one team. And in the Agile, if you see, there is a lots of communications are required in the Agile, and rather than the documents, and that give the clarity of the user stories. And in the Agile, we can like frequently changes the requirement are very easily. We can handle all those things. And in the Agile also, we can see that like there is a like discussion between the often discussion between the product owner team to regarding the uh, sprint planning or some of the changes or something like. And if you see that like Scrum again, like I would say that all those process like durations and product backlog, and sprint backlog, sprint planning backlog, and Scrum teams, all those process will go in the Scrum. So this is the difference I would say.
Okay.
So this is some
So,
like the difference.
right. Okay. So your answer to Agile is somewhat correct, except that you mentioned that Agile is a methodology, right? So Agile is not a methodology. It's basically a philosophy, a set of values and principles that any agile development framework follows. So there are, if you go to Agile Manifesto, so you read Agile Manifesto, go to scrum.org, there are 4 values and 12 principles, right? So set of values and principles, or the philosophy,
Yes.
like Leadership encourages teamwork, accountability, face to face communication, teamwork. So there are a lot of principles and values that
Yes.
are core to any of the agile development framework. Now, Scrum is agile development framework, but agile in itself is a
Agile
philosophy. It's a
development.
set of values and principles. So that's the key difference. Now, when any framework, so there is a Kanban framework as well,
Okay.
right? So there is Scrum, there is Kanban, there is extreme programming you would have heard of, there is Lean,
Right.
right? So all these are agile development methodologies or frameworks
It's a
which
driven.
which
Yes.
embrace the values and principles of agile. Okay, because agile is the philosophy, it's a set of values and principles. Okay,
Right.
so that's the key difference. Remember that these two are not same. Agile is the philosophy, values and principles. Scrum, extreme programming, Kanban, Lean, all these are the frameworks which will help you to organize your team and then help you to basically say, okay, you get the sprint backlog, you develop these in 2 weeks, and then you do these meetings after that, you do these ceremonies and deliver, right? So is it clear? You are
Yes,
fine with the
absolutely.
answer, or you disagree on that?
No, I was thinking that Agile was methodology that under that Scrum is a part of like Agile. So, like for example, I can give the color and like black or red something. So it is under color only.
No.
So that kind
So,
of I'm
so
mm,
Scrum embraces
comparing.
the values and principles of Agile. That's for sure. Okay, they are related. Extreme programming
Yes,
embraces the values and principles
yes,
of Agile.
they are
Okay, but
related.
Agile
Yes,
in itself is a philosophy. It's the set of values and principles. So if you yourself develop a new development methodology in which you say, I'll follow 6 weeks of a sprint, or I'll do the development in this way, but you follow or you embrace the philosophy and values and principles that are defined in Agile manifesto, then your development methodology or the new methodology that you define will still be Agile development methodology. Okay, I think that's sort of core of it. Okay,
right.
so this question is a tricky one. If you ask, I mean, people have been in the industry for 15, 20 years, they are still confused about it. Okay, so this is the key difference that
Yeah.
you know
So
should
I'm
remember.
getting clear on that.
Yeah. Okay, what are the different roles in Scrum?
Different rules in Scrums. We have three rules in Scrum. First is the product owner rules, and second we have that is Scrum Master and the developer team or Scrum team. We have. And in the product owner, like is a like domain expert, and he has some knowledge about the product. He has more experience in that, and he has to maintain the product backlog, and he has to clarify the user stories to the team, and he has to attend the meeting of the sprint planning and give the uh, clarifications of user stories, and also he will be the part of the estimation, and he has to be like give the priorities of that user stories. That is the main key rule he's having. So he know the like product very well, and in the market value also, and customer requirement based on those only he'll give the priorities on that. And again, I would say that he has to be accept that whatever the sprint backlog has completed, and when we'll go for the review or something, he has to accept this the like if it is not accept, then we have to go for again or something. We have to modify all those things. So this is how product owner is job is doing, and this is the role in Scrum. And secondly, I tell that Scrum Master. In the Scrum Master in Scrum, he is a like facilitator. He's not like giving the authority to anyone. the facility, he is providing facility or helping to the team, agile team to work together, and he has to maintain like whatever the commitment he has done, and all those things he have to giving the clarify, and he has to see the progress of the work, like how team are progressing. So he has to go for the burn down chart. There will be in Jira, we'll see that burn down chart, how like progresses is going on. So how much time is remaining and how much time, how much work we have. So this is how he has to see the progress. Apart from progress, also he has monitoring and tracking the development team, and he has to give the Scrum below point also to the team, and he should understand the user stories as well. So he need to be like very clarity on user stories, like what we are doing. And for me, like it is like he has to be very like focus on the product rather than process, not product, the process rather than the product. So because how process, how my team are working, how like we're giving any some like team are getting any struggle or something, or any obstacle or any problem we're getting, he has to solve all this thing. So this is how the Scrum Master will do in that role. And the team again, like team will be have that developer team or Scrum teams. There will be the developer and tester team will work together to complete the project, to complete within the sprint duration. So this is the rules of the Scrums, the
Yeah,
three important rules we have.
absolutely fantastic, Imran. I don't need to add anything there. You have covered this question in such a detail that I'm surprised that you have started in a organization with 2 years experience and you have learned so much about the roles and scrum and how the actual things work. So
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. You can just add in the scrum team cross functional, so couple of words you can add, like scrum team is a cross functional team, so it's a combination. So if I get two user stories, I as a team, or we as a team, should be able to define, should be able to design, build, test, and deploy. So that's what the cross functional team does. So self organizing cross functional team. But this is just a addition that I'm giving you, but your answer is absolutely fantastic. And I'm very happy that any person who will be watching this interview and listening to your answers should get a very good idea how they should tackle these sort of questions. So very impressive there, Imran. Okay. What is Jira? What is Jira? And what do you use Jira for? So you have used Jira, so I thought I'll ask that question as well.
yeah. Jira it is nothing but a tool which is developed by the Atlassian company. It is based on Australian company, and it is used for like to tracking the issues, to bug the to tracking the bug, and to test management for project management also it is used, and product management also they are using for Jira, and software development team also they are using for Jira. So this is the like whole work we can done with the Jira. Like again new features like we have like test management, it is very helping for the testers also. We can manage everything in the Jira.
Yeah,
So there is some like plugin we have Zephyr we have, so we need to add and we need to go for that. So initially it was there like we have to write in the Excel sheet and we need to update all those things. So now Jira it is very helpful for those like who are using Jira, and we can use for the reporting or something. We can see the reports or graph. We can see how progress is going, like teams, and this is all those things we can see in Jira. It is very helpful for the team as well. And the
absolutely. Totally
uses for
agree
Jira.
that it's not just for the agile development teams. Jira is very vast. It can be used anywhere. It's highly customizable tool. And Jira software is mostly for the agile software development team because it provides a lot of templates. You can create Scrum project or Kanban project, many flexibilities. You covered that you can do
Kanban
defect
project.
management within it. You can do test management within it using the Zephyr plugin or X-Ray plugin. So yes, your answer is absolutely correct. And Jira is very widely used for the agile software development. Along with that, it's used across other domains like HR,
Yes.
finance. So very widely used. So absolutely correct there that it is not just a tool for software development. Cool. All right. Let's move
Tools.
on to
Absolutely.
the
Yes.
API testing questions, Imran. So this was all about Scrum and Jira, which is really good. Your answers were really good. I'll give you the overall feedback at the end. What do you
Yes.
understand by API testing?
API, it stands for Application Programming Interface. It is an interface, and you have seen that any web application they have three layers. First layers we have the presentations layer. Second is API layer, and third is the data layer. And that API layer we also call as business layer and the logical layer. We have the logic in the dev layer, and they are made any like any language they are using to build that logic. And whenever, like, if you see, for example, I'll keep that in API, but if you go for the login page or some Gmail, you want to log in, and you have to give the credential, like user ID and password. Whenever you enter that, a request goes to the first API, and that from API it will go to the database, and it is fetching the record, and that database will give to the API, and that API will give the response to the client or to the GUI. So this is API it is working, and we need to test that API in the directly we can test in the API without GUI. So that is the advantage we have. It is the first processing we have, and also test the functionality, performance, security, all those testings we can do for the API testing. And for example, like if I can give more example on API, if you see that there are so many like website today you have available in the market for flight booking or something. Like if you go for Yatra or make my, so what, like for users going for different like website and searching for the flight, so it is more timing and it is sometimes headaches for the user also. But if you go to yatra.com or make my trip or goiv.com, so they're giving like all the like ranges or all the flight details, like, and with the least price or the seat price or something. So we can book from there also. But what they're using that, they're using that API. So they're using API to fetch that all the flight details with that. This is easy for the customers. It is easy for like to the developer and testers and those things. So API, it is how like we are using that API. This is how that this is called API. Think this is my
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Your understanding. I like the part, the way you have started answering this question that there are three layers. So that is very important point when you tackle any of these sort of questions that you have, data layer, the service layer, and the presentation, the UI, web UI layer, right? So, and when you talk about the service, web service or API, it is the service layer that you have already explained, and you can directly test these APIs when they are developed because it is
Without
quick to test. So quick, basically, the test run very fast, and when you write the test or test through the UI, web UI, it is very, even if you automate, it's very brittle because the UI part is involved in that. So your answer is absolutely correct. Impressive the way you have started and the things that you have covered. examples definitely that you have covered there are very, very good examples that you have given. So make sure whenever you're going for interview, take these couple of examples that you have covered here. Along with these, you can search and think of more examples so that you don't even have to go through many more
Right.
questions. If you give these sort of examples, I think interviewer will get impressed very quickly and they might just hire you straight away with just asking a couple of questions, right? So that's really good answer there, and I do not need to add anything more there because with 2+ years experience, I do not expect anything more when I ask what is API testing from you. Okay, so that's absolutely fantastic. You have given me two examples along with the clear
Yes, sir.
differentiation there. Okay.